something. We couldn't be more blessed to be working with Donald Trump. In July, together with our party, he raised $82 million in July to defeat Hillary Clinton. I'm telling you, we're in a battle for freedom in this country. Do you believe that we're in a battle for freedom? It's the same battle that founded this country, the same battle that James Madison reaffirmed in the Bill of Rights. And here we are today. How many of you have been to the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the next President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump.
Trying to get in, and downstairs there's a room and it is loaded with people. It's almost a we're really doing a job. So important to win the state of Pennsylvania. We're going to bring your jobs back. We're not going to let your jobs leave, folks. We're not going to let it happen. They're not going to Mexico. They're not going anywhere else. Your companies are going to stay. We're going to make them happy. We're cutting their taxes. We're cutting your taxes. Hillary, you probably saw yesterday, she proposed one of the biggest tax increases that anybody has ever seen. We're already the highest taxed nation, just about. But in terms of industrialized nations, we're the highest taxed nation anywhere in the world, folks, and she wants to tax us more. So we're going to be lowering your taxes very substantially. We're going to be simplifying the whole deal. You won't need H&R Block anymore, believe me. Middle-income people, the taxes are coming way down. They're coming way down. And many people that aren't earning enough money, but they're out there really trying, they have no tax to pay, and it's going to be a very, very simplified procedure. So I want to thank everybody for being here. We're going to talk a little bit about security. I have something new with me tonight, pretty new anyway, it's like one day old. It's called charts, look. Charts. So we'll get into that. But I want to introduce a few people, and we have a man who has been somebody that I've known for a long time, somebody that I've respected for a long, long time, and he's your congressman, right? You know your congressman? You better know your congressman. So, Bill Schuster is right here someplace. Come on up here. You know, it's interesting. I'm looking about Bill. Defeat ISIS with Bill. Change Washington and fix the rig system with Bill. And me too, by the way. I might even be more important in this than Bill. I don't know, but he's going to help. We want to secure our country. We're going to end Obamacare. We're going to rebuild our infrastructure. Also, I want to introduce a woman who has been of incredible assistance to me. Just incredible. The people love her. And come on up here, please. Come. Judy Ward, everybody. Judy.
Well, thank you very much, Donald, for coming to Central Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. I can tell you on election day, the state's going to be won here in Central and Western Pennsylvania because these people are going to get out and vote. And the people of Western and Central Pennsylvania have to overcome what goes on down in Philadelphia. cheating, what they do. We got to make sure we're doing the job here in central Pennsylvania. The road to the White House goes through Pennsylvania, goes through central and western Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Bill, very much. So, what Bill has been saying is a little bit bad, because they're talking about voter ID all over the country. They're approving in some cases they're not. And you know, I went to school in Philadelphia. I went to the Wharton School of Finance in Philadelphia. So I know the state very well. My kids went to school here, 2 of them. And we love the state. But we have to be very, very careful about our day, because we're going to have tremendous voter turnout. We're going to have unbelievable turnout. But we don't want to see people voting 5 times, folks. We don't want to see it. And I've heard some stories about certain parts of the state, and we have to be very careful. I don't even know, maybe you should go down and volunteer or do something. But without voter ID, there's no way you're going to be able to check it properly. We have a lot of law enforcement people working that day. We're hiring a lot of people. We're putting a lot of law enforcement. And by the way, speaking of law enforcement, do we love our police? Just like the chief, he's like central casting. We put him in a movie right now. But we love our police. And I will tell you that and I can't say it any more strongly, we're going to bring your jobs back. We're going to bring so much back. We're going to make our country great again. We're going to make America great again. But it's a tough process, because, you know, I've been talking about a rigged system for a long time. And I'll tell you, whatever you can do, I know you're going to go out. I know this part of Pennsylvania is phenomenal. I just left Erie County. I mean, Erie has been, I don't know, I guess you've heard, and Bill has heard, and everybody's heard what went on there. We had 10,000, at least 10,000 people. We're going to have, I guess they call it the big T. Maybe that's lucky. Have you heard about the T? They say the T is good. I wonder what that means. But I really say, look, November 8th, such a big day. You have to turn out. We're bringing your jobs back. We're going to renegotiate trade deals. NAFTA, signed by Bill Clinton, is a disaster. It's a disaster. I watched Hillary Clinton yesterday. She gave her short little speech reading a teleprompter on taxes are going to be raised. Can you believe it? Massive $1.3 trillion. Massive increase in taxes. Massive increase in regulation. Now, speaking of regulation, before I speak of regulation, Reince, I want to thank you. Where's Reince? What a great guy. Reince, get out there. He has done, thank you very much. Reince has done such an amazing job, and they portrayed him slightly inaccurately. Reince, come here for a second, please. The head of the Republican National Committee has done such a great job. We're friends, we work together, we work with a lot of other people. And I have to say, we have great unification. Now, every once in a while you read about somebody that wants to be a rebel, they get a little free publicity for themselves. But the way we have gotten along, and I've put in a lot of money into the Republican National Committee. I spend a lot of time and put in a lot of money, and I will tell you, and I'm spending money on my own campaign. You know, I went through the whole primary system. I paid for it. And I'm going through this, and I'm spending for me. But we're raising a lot of money for the Republicans. And honestly, I just want to thank this man, because it is not an easy job. He has done an incredible job. Thank you. I appreciate it. They like to portray it a little bit differently in the press. These guys are the most dishonest people. And I'll let you know, hey, you know what? We have a great relationship. We have just about from the beginning. When I first came out, I'm not sure Reince believed too much. So, you know, I understand. But if I didn't have a good relationship, guess what? you and they would be the first to know. And I would call, and I would tell them, and I would tell you, but we've had a special relationship, but somebody has to call us. So they write stories. Like, for instance, they wrote the story about the founder, right? That Barack Obama, the founder. Ooh, that's sort of nice. Do we like it? Turn them off. We like them better the other way. What was that? They didn't pay their electric bill, I guess. But you know, you talk about Barack Obama has done such a poor job with us that I have been for numerous days sarcastically saying that he is the founder of ISIS. Right? You've heard that. And then I say they really like him a lot. Don't forget, when he took over, I think they were in 8 countries, 7 countries. Now I understand they're in 28 countries. They're rampant all over the world. Probably they're rampant here too, because we're taking in so many people we have no idea who they are. So I've been saying, and I'll keep saying because it's true, but somewhat sarcastically, I've been saying he's the founder of ISIS, and I say she's a close second. And then I say, but they cut it off. In fact, very shortly, they're going to make him the most valuable player. They're going to give him the most valuable player award, the MVP. I say the MVP. Now, unfortunately, the media, the dishonest media, they cut that off. Because that, you know, shows a little sucker. And I say they're going to give Hillary Clinton the most improved player for letting, I think, look, for words of them, you probably wouldn't even have ISIS. Because he calls it ISIL. ISIL. You know, and there are reasons to call it ISIL. There actually are. Geographically, there are reasons to call it ISIL. But he's the only one. And I honestly believe he calls it ISIL to make people angry. Because he is the great divider. And let me tell you, folks, he is a terrible, terrible president. He has done a terrible, terrible job. He is grossly incompetent, and we have to make a change. And Hillary Clinton is 4 more years of Obama. 4 more years of ISIS, 4 more years of high taxes. Think of it, wants to raise your taxes. And I don't think you're going to put up with it. 4 more years of, well, I guess there won't be any email scandal by that time. Can you imagine 33,000 emails wiped out? 33,000 emails wiped out. It's a very sad thing, folks. Well, we're going to get back to it. Listen, so I just went and I visited one of your companies. A great company, an amazing family. 6 generations, really 7, because I actually met the 7th generation. You know what that is? You know how long? Andrew Jackson was president. Andrew Jackson, 1835. And you probably, most of you know, McLaren, that's right. You know Mike, everyone knows Mike. So, Mike McLanahan, and an amazing guy. I met his son, I met his kids, his grandkids, I met everybody. I met his employees, and they're devastated. Because after all of these years, from 1835 to now, they're really having a hard time because of Obama and his ridiculous policies. And George Sidney works with Mike and the family, and they said things to me that I thought were incredible. And I said, I know you don't do this for a living, and you probably have never done this before, but if you could come up on the stage, we have a small group of about 9,000 people. If you could come up on, and lots of television, look at all those people. Oh, they're so tough. They are so dishonest. For instance, so as you know, right downstairs and next door we have a room like this with just about as many people. They're not going to cover that. They're not going to show these massive crowds. They're not going to say that in the history of this building, which I guess is 15 years old, this is the biggest crowd they've ever had by far. 1835. I would like to have George and Mike just come up for a minute and explain the company, quickly how it started, where they are right now, and what regulations and horrible, horrible policy has done to these great people. Okay, come on up.
Thank you so much. I'm Mike McClanahan, Chairman of the Board of McClanahan Corporation. We started in 1835. We're 181 years old this year. The last 8 years have been the toughest in existence. And it's come to having to lay off friends and families that have worked for us for generations. It's just sad. And these regulations are getting worse. And I hate to see what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months when he puts in ones that he's had in his pocket for a long time. We're the oldest family-owned foundry in the country. We stand behind Donald Trump as a solid businessman. We support him in everything he's doing to change what's happening in Washington and in this country. George?
We're really proud of the organization that we have in McClanahan Corporation, and we wear it on our sleeve. I feel it's so sad that you're talking about a company in McClanahan that's survived the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, the First World War, the Great Depression, the Second World War, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam War, the wars in the Middle East. And we're scared to death that we're not going to be able to survive 4 more years of Obama regulation. Which Hillary has promised to continue his legacy. We're very serious when we say that we absolutely cannot sustain 4 more years of what we've endured over the last 8. We need help in getting Donald Trump elected.
Congressman Schuster, we just created 2 stars. And you know, it was so amazing. You know, I looked, and I love that stuff. I love plants. I love all of it. And I looked at the plant, and you can see it's amazing, the age, but the cleanliness, the loving care that's given to the plant. I've seen plants that aren't so good. The care and I looked at a piece of steel, as big a piece of steel. I've seen big steel, but as big a piece of steel, a beam, as I've ever seen. And I was talking to him about it. How do you get this in? How do you truck it in? What do you do? Do you splice it? What are you doing? And it was just fascinating. But I saw that, you know, so many years. And I said, so how's business? They said, it's catastrophic. It's a disaster. Can't go on much longer. And I said, what's the problem? Is it regulation? Well, it's really tax and regulation. But I've found over this, because I've met so many people, same position, incredible people. The difference here is 1835. That's a long time. That's one that's really out there. Andrew Jackson was president. You know, usually you'll hear like Ronald Reagan was president. That was a long time ago. But Andrew Jackson. So that was a long time ago. But when I see the love in that plant, and I met all the employees, And one of them was there 31 years, one of them there's 21 years, and 15 years, and great people. And you know it's just a question of time, much smaller than it used to be. The dollar is killing them. It's not so much the dollar, it's that other countries are absolutely, you know, what they're doing. Well, it's China, and it is China, but it's others. And the devaluation of their currencies, is absolutely killing our companies, killing them. And we let these people get away with murder. And we're the piggy bank. Remember, they come in, they dump their product. Next is going to be steel. You watch. First of all, they're killing your coal. They're totally killing your coal. And that's one of Mike's problems also, because the stuff they make for coal, I mean, they don't need it anymore because the mines are all being closed. And the miners don't have jobs. And they want to have jobs. You know, I was in West Virginia where I had a tremendous victory. I got a massive vote. And Hillary Clinton, a few weeks before that, she didn't know people were listening. And she said, we're going to put the mines and the miners out of business, all right? And then, do you remember, she went to West Virginia and she sat around the round table with that beautiful miner and his family. That beautiful miner and his family. And in very, very sad terms, he was explaining how they want to be miners, right? And she was trying to say she was only kidding, essentially. She was trying to, yeah, she's lying. Hey, look, has anybody lied as much as Hillary Clinton has? You look at the FBI director, and you see what went on with the emails. You see how she got away with that. I think that will go down in her career as her single greatest achievement, how she got out of that mess. But she's not out of it yet. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's disgraceful. Honestly, it's disgraceful. And you know who's more disgraceful, in my opinion? The media. Because they don't put her to the task. They don't put her to the task. They don't do anything. They follow me, and I'm on all the time. I do get much better ratings than her, in all fairness. The media concept is that don't put her on, because if you don't watch her, she'll be okay. Right? Right? And then she goes out and she talks that she short-circuited. Short-circuited. The mind short-circuited. She was asked a question on Fox by Chris Wallace, and the answer was so bad. I was watching, which is hard to watch because it's pretty boring, to be honest. But she said she short-circuited. I said to myself, man, that's a bad one. Oh, she's going to have problems. Where do you see tomorrow? Nothing. Where do you see the next day? Nothing. And I said to a friend of mine, can you imagine if I said that about myself? I would be all over every paper anywhere in the world, right? It's like I told you about, you know, sarcastically. I mean, you had to see these news organizations yesterday when I said Obama, right? Did you see that? That Obama is the founder of ISIS. He's the MVP. They're going to be giving him the MVP award, and she's right there next to him. And you had to see, and they left the MVP stuff out because they didn't know. But you had to hear, did he mean it? What does it mean? We have 9 panelists tonight. We have one panelist representing Donald Trump. We have 8 panelists plus the moderator and plus another few moderators. Come on, folks, get in here. It is so ridiculous what's going on. The pylon, a man that's been doing this for 45 years said, it's the single greatest pylon of a candidate that he's ever seen. Every day. Every single day, story after story after story. And I think they're going to be good stories. You know, I do good work. I built one of the great companies of this country. I built this, I did one of them, great job. Some of the great assets in the world. Very little debt, tremendous cash flow. That's why I can do this stuff. Believe me. You think And by the way, in the primaries, I spent about $51 million, something like that. And, which, believe it or not, was about the lowest amount of money for the majors, right? And I came in first in a landslide. Others spent much more than that. One spent many times more than that and came in toward the bottom of the pack. And I said to myself, isn't that what you want for a president, right? What you want? You spend the least and you come in first. But spend the least and come in first. Will that be nice? And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. But Hillary Clinton will be so bad for our country, will be so bad for our country. And here's the thing, the press doesn't go after her. So she hasn't had a news conference in approximately, in fact, her statement and a couple of other bad statements were made, and oh, don't worry about it, go home, go home.
Trump, 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 Trump.
So she's going home to mommy, go home to mommy. And you know the best part, her mother is voting for Donald Trump. It's great. So it's an amazing thing that's happening, but they don't show her. So she hasn't had a news conference in what, 255 days, something like that. The little one that she had, she tried to pretend they were all her friends and they were asking, and she gave such bad answers. But I just said, man, look at these answers. Wow. I don't want anybody to be hurt, but I said, she's really going to be hurt by those answers. And what happened? Nothing. Although now, I will tell you, it was a little delayed reflex, but short circuit really is catching on now, very belatedly, because we don't want a president that's going to short circuit. We have bigger problems than that. We have big problems in this country. We don't need that. So, she wants to raise your taxes. I'm going to lower your taxes. She wants to raise your regulations, and you heard Mike and George talking about regulations or putting them out of business. And we're going to do such a massive decrease of regulation so that our small businesses can thrive and grow and can even start a small business. So we have lots of things that we're going to be working on. But I tell you, big is we're going to bring our companies back. Big. And for this area, honestly, got to bring our companies back. Our companies have gone to Mexico. I tell it now, for the last month, I tell this is so inexpensive, because normally you'd go out, you'd hire a big firm, or you'd hire the Harvard guys or the Wharton guys, and they'd charge you a lot of money, and they'd do a report, they'd come back in 6 months, they'd charge you $1 million, and you wouldn't know anything. Most of the reports, they just take them and throw them. But a friend of mine builds plants, right? And he's just about the biggest in the world. Maybe he is the biggest in the world. But he builds massive plants. And I said to him, how are you doing? He said, really well. I said, where? He said, Donald, you have to see what we're doing in Mexico. We are building some of the great plants anywhere in the world. Car plants, computer plants, anything. I said, really? He said, it's the 8th wonder of the world, Mexico. And he wants to build here. He's an American guy, he's a US guy, he wants to build here. So I said, how's the United States doing? He goes, just like this. Meh. That's my job. How stupid are we? How stupid are we to allow this? Our companies are moving to Mexico as we talk today. And I said this before in Erie, because we had a crowd that was massive in Erie. And somebody said it's like a Democrat area. I don't think so, I'll tell you. I don't think so. We had this massive crowd of people. But I said it to them. We can't let our companies go without consequence. We can't let our companies be stripped out of our country, open up a plant somewhere because of a NAFTA agreement that was signed by Bill Clinton with a wife that she won't be able to do a damn thing about it. There have to be consequences when they leave and they fire all their people. And the consequences when they make their product and they want to sell it through what will soon be a very, very strong, powerful border, they're going to pay a 35% tax on that product. And they're not going to leave. They won't leave. Don't worry about it, Mark. They won't be leaving. They won't be leaving. So, in this area, because it's been hit so hard, and the coal has been hit so hard, you know, in Erie, they have General Electric, and they're stopping with the big locomotives. It's way down because the coal is way down. It's way, way down. Tremendous unemployment. Well, all of that's going to stop. So, we're going to open our minds. We're going to work with our steel workers and our miners and all of our people. And you know what? My whole theme of what we're doing is very simple. He's got it in his cap. There are hundreds of people that have it on their caps. It's called Make America Great Again. America first. Make America great again. Now, believe me, the jobs are coming back, folks. That's going to be so easy. A friend of mine said, why didn't somebody else think of that? And honestly, they don't think of it because they're politicians. And other than Bill, who would understand that immediately, right? Bill has no doubt. And Judy. He is. Bill is a business guy. But these are politicians that, number one, are controlled by special interests and lobbyists, right? And donors. And a lot of times they don't want because they own companies that want to move across the border. There are a lot of reasons. A friend of mine recently said, Donald, how could a certain deal have been made a month ago? He said, it doesn't make sense. It's so bad for the country. He said, boy, those politicians are stupid. I said, no, they're not stupid. They're getting massive campaign contributions. They're getting massive donations. Isn't it nice that I do what I do and I just spend a lot of money? Oh,